Welcome to the Boss Babe Share Your Business, Learn and Teach podcast. Here, women come together from around the world, different backgrounds, faiths, views, expertise, and countries with the common goal to lift others up, share their expertise, and present their most beautiful jewels of wisdom in business and in life. We're here to spread love, health, and wealth around the globe in massive, long-lasting ripples. My name's Jenna Martin, and it's an honor to be here with you today. Get a cup of tea or your favorite drink and enjoy. All right, we're live in Boss Babe. Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a beautiful evening or morning wherever you are. Today, I'm so excited to introduce Megan. This is our Boss Babe podcast. This is only our third episode, and it's just been a joy. The goal, is to have women from around the world with different backgrounds and expertise and faiths and just visions to share their knowledge and expertise and jewels of wisdom with our audience. So, Megan, thank you so much for being here today. She's a vitality coach, and we're going to talk about the morning routine. Megan, will you introduce yourself and tell us more about you?
Absolutely. Hello. Thank you so much for having me, Jenna. Yes. Hi. Hi, everybody. Great to be here with you all and to be part of this incredible community. And so a little bit about me. So I do live on the beautiful island of Maui, and I'm so grateful to be out here in the middle of the ocean. And so I tell you that because I have a funny pet that I accidentally adopted a few years ago. He's a rooster. His name's Chirpy. So if you hear any weird squawking sounds in the background, that's what that is. But it's a funny story because he's actually taught me a lot about morning routines, which is apropos being a huge advocate for morning routines. So that is one of my focuses. And then I really love to help purpose-driven, health-conscious female entrepreneurs to use the tools of yoga to make themselves and their health a priority on their to-do list so they can show up and shine and use their practice to ultimately embody and become the version of themselves that their dreams and their business need them to be. So a lot of what you see on social media, you see these incredible benefits of yoga, like flexibility and strength and stress reduction, all that. And you might see those photos and think, well, I thought the whole goal was to try to make myself look like a pretzel or like I'm auditioning for Cirque du Soleil. I love that. It's kind of true though, right? Like you see the clothes and you're like, whoa, wow, that's a lot. But really what these tools are teaching you and helping you to practice is to become better at being yourself. And that's really what life is about, right? And I think that's really ultimately what business is about. And that's how you can show up as your authentic self and attract your ideal aligned clients, is really have a practice and have a morning ritual or morning routine that really lets you connect with her or him and really begin to show up from that place. So that's really what I'm passionate about.
That's beautiful and so powerful because you'll see that if you have a morning routine, it changes everything for the rest of your day, just that intention. So I was so excited to speak with you today because of that. And yoga expands your energy field. And to me, that means you're opening yourself to more clients who will feel that magnetic power. So thank you so much for being here today and speaking on this.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for the opportunity to chat with you.
Yeah, of course. And for anyone who doesn't know roosters, they crow at the crack of dawn. So,
yes. And they crow all day long. And I didn't realize that either, but maybe just Hawaiian roosters, but they crow all day long.
Maybe.
And the crack of dawn too, for sure.
That's wonderful. So will you tell us how you started on this journey? Where were you before you decided to get into yoga? And then even before you got into becoming an entrepreneur on the online space?
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I've actually always been an entrepreneur. I never really had an official job where I was working in a corporate setting or for someone else. Yeah, so it's been a long journey, about 16 years. I mean, I did have jobs as a teenager where I was working for other people, but I became a personal trainer shortly after I graduated from university. So it's been sort of my ongoing journey. So before I found yoga, I always loved movement and exercise. And so it seemed to be a natural progression. especially where my background, the degree that I took was actually in gerontology, which is the study of aging.
Wow.
So after I graduated, my parents were a little confused when I decided that I wanted to move to Hawaii and become a personal trainer.
Yeah. Like, wait a
You
minute.
know, they were like, "Oh, okay," because I decided that I was a little bit too empathetic, too sensitive, and I think it's so beautiful when people can, but that I really didn't want to or couldn't feel aligned with working in a retirement home or a nursing home facility. So I decided to
Yeah.
take a bit more of a preventative approach to aging, and that led me to personal training, and then subsequently led me to yoga. So they've kind of merged
Wow.
worlds.
Wow, that's amazing. It's so cool how, I think for many of us, at least many women entrepreneurs I've spoken to, they start off on one path and life just kind of takes them down the road they're meant to go down. So I admire you for listening to that and making it happen.
Thank you. Yeah, I
Mhm.
agree. I agree. It's a process, right? And it's being, like you said, it's being open and willing to see the steps in front of us and be open to kind of going with the flow a little bit. And of course, you want to have a plan and ideas and move towards that, but also being open to inspiration and guidance is so important for sure.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And so why Hawaii? What drew you to Hawaii to, pursue your goals there?
I'm originally from Canada and I never really have liked the snow.
Yeah.
And then when I finished school, I was like, okay, I don't have to stay here. You know, I can go somewhere different. And so I was born in the US, so I have dual citizenship. So I came
Okay.
out here shortly after I graduated and I lived on the Big Island. And then that wasn't a good alignment for me. Each of the islands in the Hawaiian island chain are slightly different.
So
They're kind of like
different.
sisters in the same family. You know, you've been
Yeah.
out here?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, they're so different. And I mean, the Big Island is an active volcano, so she's like very intense and fiery. And so I decided to move back to Canada, and so I moved to British Columbia, and which was lovely. And it's a lot more temperate and way less snow, but you get rained on all the time. So I felt like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh, and so like I can't do this either. And so then I came back out here and I moved to Maui.
Wow. And happy. So, how long have you been there? Sorry if I missed that part.
No, no worries. I've been on Maui just over 10 years.
10 years. Wow, that's amazing. And good for you for just listening to your heart. I think so many female entrepreneurs were trying to do that, and it just takes some courage. So I admire your courage for sure.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, sometimes I was making brave leaps and I'm kind of have a like, okay, let's do it and we'll figure it out later sort of mentality
Yeah.
sometimes. So luckily it was one of those times when it actually worked out in my favor. So that was good.
Yay.
Yeah,
Winning.
winning.
And then yeah, from there, did you kind of go on to the online space? Were you always there? Was it a gradual progression? Did you hop in and run with it? What did that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually it's been about 3.5 years now that I've been online. So I was a little bit ahead of the curve, thankfully, before everything shifted last March. So I started
Yes.
with a program called Yoga at My Desk. So because I was doing workplace wellness, I was wanting to have tools to offer to my different businesses that I was working with. So Yoga at My Desk is just like it sounds. So it's helping people take yoga breaks right at their desk so they can integrate more movement, move out of the ouchy slouchy posture, wake up their muscles
Yeah.
and all those good things.
Calling me out.
Yeah, you're
You're
not
right.
alone. Yeah, so that was my start, and so luckily I had a good amount of familiarity with videos and being online and having an online presence. And so ironically, that was the first job that I had had ever sitting down because all my jobs have been really active. So creating
Wow.
a program called Yoga at My
True.
Desk was the first time I ever had a desk job. And so I started to realize pretty quickly how important it is for people to have these tools.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, who did you find yourself attracting, especially at first? Was it women at corporate jobs? Was it women, who came to you first for support, with yoga at their desk?
That was a lot of, actually, interestingly enough, was solopreneurs, businesswomen that were working from home and were
Wow,
mostly, yeah, a one woman team.
makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, and I can relate to that too, because you'll find me, I sometimes I work wherever I'm eating. I love just connecting with other women, but I'll catch my posture all the time, and it's absolutely horrible. So that makes sense, for women who are, especially when you're starting online, you're at your desk a lot. So I admire that you are calling us all out and helping
With
women
love.
have better postures. Yeah, with love, with
Mhm,
a lot of
mhm.
love. And I find that if I have a better posture, I have better blood flow to my brain, which helps me. Yeah, will you talk a little bit more about that? Why it's so important to have good posture?
Sure, absolutely. So the our human body is not really designed to sit down for extended periods of time. We're designed to be up and moving and having blood flowing throughout your body, keeping your muscles engaged. But our main tool is a technological device, whether that's your car, or your phone, computer, something like that, right?
Mhm.
So it requires us to sit sometimes, unless you can set up a standing desk situation. So when you sit down, everything starts to slow down because it's not really being called upon to be active. So
Mm.
your blood flow starts to slow down. You start to breathe in a different way. You start to have like sometimes you can feel like a swelling in your feet for when you sit down too long. So it changes your body pretty quickly. And so what it
Mhm.
starts to happen is your blood pressure has to go up because your blood flow is actually slowing down. So your heart has to work harder to pump the blood throughout your body. It's harder for blood to move throughout your body, especially up to your brain, because you're taking shorter and shallow breaths. So you can just do a really
Oh,
quick experiment of like, okay, so show me your like best, oh
yeah.
man, I gotta get this done, like super tired, owie posture. Now try to take a deep breath. I know you're like, eh. So try to take a deep breath. So try to take a deep breath. Okay. And now show me your best, like sitting up nice and tall. Yeah, good. And now take a deep, exactly. Now try
Wow.
to take a deep,
Yeah, big difference. Oh my
big,
gosh.
yeah.
That's
And that's just one
amazing.
breath.
Yeah.
So imagine you're sitting there for however long each day and you're
Yeah.
breathing, you're slouched over. So your main breathing muscle, which is your diaphragm, it can't breathe very well. It can't move very well because you're kind of squishing it, right? Because you're sitting down and you're scrunched over. And so what happens then is the backup muscles, which are the ones in your neck and shoulders, start to
Mhm.
have to work overtime. And keep in mind, they're already working really hard to hold up your beautiful head because your head is way out in front here rather than being stacked back on top of your shoulders, right? So they're already working hard. Then they work harder to hold up your head because when you sit, you tend to go from, there's the camera, so you're sitting up nice and tall, and then you get more tired, more tired, more tired. Your head gets further and further forward. And this is where your upper back, you start to feel pain and tension here, right? And so
Yeah.
that's why we have all the pain and tension in our neck and shoulders, which is being called tech neck. And so a dear friend to tech neck is actually sleeping booty, which is when we sit all day, it tends to get a little sleepy. So technically it's called gluteal amnesia, but it's kind of funnier and cuter to call it like numb bum or sleeping booty. But when we sit all day, that's the muscles start to get sleepy. And so you're moving into that weaker posture and you're taking shorter, shallow breaths. It actually triggers stress in your body. So even if you're not feeling particularly stressed out, you're breathing as though you are because you're breathing the way you do when you're stressed. So your brain is like, I don't know what the matter is. I don't know where the saber-toothed tiger is, but seems to think that it's around here somewhere. So it triggers more
Wow.
cortisol, which increases inflammation. And the other thing about
Yeah.
stress is that when you are under stress, your body goes into survival mode. So it's like, okay, there must be a tiger somewhere. Let's like stay in that mode of protecting. So that's when we get fight, flight, or freeze. And when that happens, your brain turns down the higher brain functions, which are creativity, imagination, decision making, connection, ideas,
Mhm.
all of that goes and it just says, okay, well, let's just try to stay alive here because she's clearly very stressed out. So I don't know what's going on. So what we're doing there is we're kind of setting ourselves up to have brain fog and exhaustion and pain and tension and headaches, all of those things. So really important to integrate more movement throughout your day. And best case scenario is to have something where you start your day and energize your body, energize your muscles. So that's why I'm a huge advocate for morning routines as well.
Wow. That is so powerful, everything you just said, because I can tell you so many female entrepreneurs who get tired, who have the foggy brain. I hear a lot of women, they get kind of numbness down
Mhm.
to their fingers, yeah, as well. So that's really powerful.
Absolutely. So the numbness is really common, and that is coming from the weaker posture. So if you're upright, I'm trying to get the angle proper. So if you're
Mhm.
upright like this, then you have openness in your shoulders. Whereas if you go into that rounded posture, see how it's closed off the front of my shoulder versus when I'm upright here. So
Right.
the nerves that come from your chest go down your arms can start to get a little bit pinched off in the shoulder from that weaker posture. So I kind of go towards calling it stronger and weaker versus bad posture, good posture, because you're always in posture and you don't necessarily need to call it bad. There's just better, stronger posture. So when you are in that weaker compressed position, your nerves get compressed and that's when you start to have numbness and potentially pain. So the more you can move yourself back into a more open position, to your point earlier, you're more energetically open, you're in a stronger posture, but then you have the energy of your body, your vital life force, and your oxygen is free flowing. And not only are you out of pain, but you're also more clear headed, focused, and your body's like, oh, okay, she's feeling good right now. She's looking, walking confident. It's like
Yeah.
it's not under stress. So it changes everything about your body, your physiology.
Wow. That's again, you're so great at conveying these like huge concepts and bigger ideas and just make it very clear and straightforward. I also have found if my posture is off, my anxiety skyrockets. So can you share, was that the fight or flight aspect that you were speaking to, or is that something else?
Partially,
Or just
partially the fight
oxygen?
or flight. Pardon?
Yeah. Or just oxygen?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's we'll start there. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's if your posture is weaker or off, then
Mhm.
it's harder for you to breathe, so you have less oxygen. So your brain's kind of it gets under stress. It might get a little panicky, and you might feel that as anxiety. So the other
Mm.
component to that, and that might be the fight or flight element, kicking in. The other component to posture, which is quite fascinating, is that, well, your mind and your body are obviously very connected, but up from an energetic perspective and an emotional perspective as well. And so when you are in a posture that is weaker and you're slouched over and you're breathing those short and shallow breaths, you're actually in that protective posture. You're in that like protective
Mhm.
positioning that you would be in if you were concerned about something happening, right? And so your body is again getting that signal like something's happening. Should we be worried about this? And that's when the anxiety starts to kick in, right? And so
Mm.
the same goes for depression, and the same goes for, if we have those sort of ups and downs in our mood. And I have the same. It's interesting when you look at somebody, if you were to ask, or if I were to ask you, like, what's the classic position of somebody who's really sad? And we
Yeah,
all would say very, very similar things, right? It's like,
yeah,
and
interesting.
it is. And then so the thing is that it's your body and your mind are constantly signaling back and forth, right? And so it's reading your posture and it's like, what's the matter? Like, why is she sitting like that? Is she really sad right now? I guess she's really sad. And then it starts to shift the chemicals in your brain.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that's why if a quick little hack is if you're feeling emotionally sad or if you're feeling anxious, is to just reset yourself and to move back into stronger posture. And so yoga, in from the yogic perspective, that's opening up your central energy channel and allowing the energy, life force energy, to flow through you, and helps to bring you back into balance. So it's called embodied psychology. So if you're feeling kind of sad, junk
Yeah.
heavy, then you can change that relatively quickly by changing your posture and breathing in a really slow and rhythmic way, and it will help you to feel different pretty quickly.
Wow. That's an amazing like mind shift, I'm sure, for anyone watching this. And for me, I've known it on certain levels, but the way you explain it just hits it home. So just thank you for that. And yeah, you mentioned the morning routine. Will you tell us more about a morning routine that would be healthy for women watching this to kind of set the space for their day?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I know just before we dive into that is that a lot of times what I hear right away is I don't have time for that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I know, and I can totally relate 100% is that you do have a lot on your plate, and I recognize that and I honor that for sure. So just know that this is not actually going to take away from everything that you do. It will actually add to that because it's going to affect how you feel. And so hopefully I've already convinced you the importance of having strong posture and being aware of, how you're holding yourself emotionally. But what I like to do with people is to go a little bit further because as a business owner, you're a visionary. You have dreams, you have goals, and in order for you to achieve those, it requires some inner shifts of you, and it requires you being willing to create from that future self, that pure possibility and potential, so that you're not just
Mm-hmm.
repeating the same patterns of yesterday. You're really starting to embody that version of you that has all the answers, that knows what to do, knows how to show up, that has the empowering beliefs, that has that way of being, that way of forgiving herself, so that you can begin to really show up each day from that place and be magnetic and be feeling inspired and connecting with your clients and all of that. So I would say the first place to start with your morning routine is to connect with your big vision, is to connect with your big
Mm-hmm.
why, because that reminds you to come from a place of service and something that you're moving towards rather than away from. And that's a lot more motivating for your brain and your heart. And it allows you to move towards that possibility. So connect to that big vision, connect to your why, and then connect to the you that's in that moment, because that's the you that we get to start to embody today. Because when you be here now, you do the things that you need to do to get to the results that you want to have, right? So that's really powerful flip, rather than wait till you have what you need to feel happy and then I'll start doing the things. So you kind of flip it. And so I would connect to that big vision. So we envision that future you, and then ask yourself, how would she stand right now? What would her energy be like? What would her posture be like if she's already achieved all of her goals and she's, had lunch with Oprah and she's, whatever your dreams are? How would she show up and how would she stand? Would she stand like this all day? No, probably not. You
Yeah.
know, and
True.
it's true, right? It's so true. And so how can you begin to embody that? So that's the next step. So how can you begin to embody that? So that's where yoga comes in, because really yoga is an embodiment practice, so that you can begin to energize your muscles so that you're holding strong posture, you're feeling strong, confident. So in yoga, we call that Tadasana, or mountain pose. And so it's just really standing
Mm-hmm.
in your strength and really tapping into that inner wisdom and guidance. So if all you have is like 2 minutes for your morning routine, connect to your big vision and then embody that version of you now. So that might just be standing
Yeah.
tall. And that goes back to, like, that's a power posture rather than a posture that's kind of weak and hunched over, is really standing in that strength. So there's a really cool TED talk that maybe you've seen. It's by Amy Cuddy. Have you seen that one?
No,
So
I
she talks about
haven't.
the Wonder Women posture. So that
Oh,
was
I've
like,
seen it. I haven't heard it though. Yeah.
you should check it out. It's pretty cool. So it's just that, like, yes, I'm ready. I'm going to take on the world. And whether you're doing that seated or if you're doing that standing, whatever works for your body and your energy level, that's a great way. And that's where, you can take a couple minutes and do some yoga practice, or you do some dancing or a workout or whatever you like, but use that time intentionally to embody that you. And then the next step. So you've envisioned, you've embodied, and then express. So who is she and how is she going to show up today? What's she going to do? What are some little actions that you can take? Your brain, as much as we like to have a million things on our to-do list, it's very overwhelming for your brain. So let's say 3 steps. What are 3 things you're going to do today? And then check them off the list. Because what you do when you do that, when you express yourself as that version of you and you cross it off the list, you actually start to cascade some chemicals in your brain that help you get more done, stay in a place of motivation rather than a
Mm-hmm.
place of overwhelm. So that's a way that you can create a little morning routine. So envision, embody, and then express. So you can move forward into your day as that next level, elevated version of yourself.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I already feel good like thinking about it.
Oh, yay. Good. Good, good, good. Well, I have a
Yay.
special resource and a little treat for you all so that you can follow and go into that later, but we'll talk about that later. But yes, I love that you liked
Okay.
it.
Yes, Definitely. Yeah, I for some of the clients that I've worked with, I've talked about if you want to be a millionaire and you want to have high impact, so what are you not doing now that a millionaire is doing? So it's kind of similar, but from more of a health standpoint and an embodiment standpoint. And I think that's even more powerful to talk about the embodiment of it, because that energy again goes into your field and changes things. So I just think that's so cool.
Mm, it does. It
Yeah,
totally does change things because it changes
yeah,
the way you show up, right? And the thing about a morning routine is that if you are really intentional with that time, it allows you to step into your day from that place of alignment, from that place of feeling centered, from that place of prioritizing yourself without feeling bad about it. Because a lot of
yeah.
times, moms or people that are really busy, they can get to that point where they're like feel really guilty taking away time from their family or their partner or their relationship or their cat. I don't know, we start to have these stories about what should come first. And it's so important to remember that you can come first, and that actually does help the longevity and success of your relationships and your business, and all of it gets benefited when you're feeling good. So making that little window of time a priority will actually have beautiful ripple effects into the rest of your day.
That's amazing. And then if someone's interested in your work, what does working with you look like? Is it a weekly check-in? Is it, how do you connect with the women that you work with?
So I have a couple of self-paced online programs. So I have the yoga at my desk, and then I have another one that's called Wake the Warrior Within. So that's a journey through
Ooh,
warrior poses. Yeah, so that was a cool one, actually. That's a fun one. So a journey through the warrior poses to activate the qualities of the warrior, which are the ones that we need as entrepreneurs, like centered and courage and gratitude, all those good things. And then I do work with people one-on-one. And so we do create a customized plan and program that works for you, for your body, your goals, and then have you do that as we lay it out through your program, and then do weekly check-ins and weekly sessions. And then I do have a 90-day group coaching experience called Elevate that helps you to elevate who you are being and how you're showing up by truly embodying her, by making yourself and your health a priority.
so cool. And so for women watching who aren't as familiar with yoga, do you mind sharing a little bit about the warrior pose?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing about, remember I was saying, the goal of yoga is not to twist yourself into a pretzel. So the goal of yoga is to really, truly tap into who you are at your purest essence. And every one of the poses teaches you something different about yourself. And so a lot of the time, traditionally, when poses were taught, they were taught with the story that inspired the pose. Or for example, like tree pose. It's called a tree pose because the yogis were inspired by it, the stability of the tree. They saw the roots, they saw the reaching, they saw the growth, the expansion, the letting go, the blossoming, all of that, right? So each pose has a lot to teach us. So in the warrior poses, so there's 3 warrior poses, and there's actually a story behind them. And it's the story of a warrior who's gone on an incredible journey, charged with the incredible task of conquering the most powerful of all opponents, which is his own mind.
Oh,
And it's the
yeah.
story of how
Nice.
we can learn and grow and navigate difficult times, stay focused on our vision, stay focused on our mission, learn to stand in your strengths. So the poses are shaped a little differently, but they each teach you a lot. And so they teach you a lot about holding that internal integrity, holding your alignment within yourself, keeping your attention on your intention or your focus or what you desire to create for yourself. And so along the way, he learns some lessons, and he learns how to become more fully himself, and to ultimately learn how to make, and this is what it's teaching you as well, is to learn how to make your mind your most powerful tool rather than your most challenging opponent, right? Because it can go either way.
Yeah.
It can totally go either way, especially when you start to put yourself out there on a Facebook Live or on social media, or you have
Yeah.
a new offer, or you do a launch. Your brain is like, no, what are you doing? You shouldn't be doing this. This is silly. No one's going to buy it. Blah, 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 blah. And so learning to become
Yeah.
a witness to all of that and really train your mind to come back to that place of inner guidance and inner awareness. And so that's what that's all about.
That's amazing. I just genuinely, truly appreciate it because you definitely, especially like as you grow too, you have to, or there's a lull because sometimes that happens here and there. Your mind is constantly, it's like next level. So there's a new awareness, and then you're challenged. So you have to break through it and stay strong in yourself. And what an amazing gift to give other women. I
Mm.
just think it's amazing. Will you share with us your freebie then? So for women watching, they know how to connect with you?
Yes, absolutely. So it's a new checklist that I created to help you to customize your morning routine. So it's 3 steps, and those are what I shared with you earlier, but we'd go dive deeper into that so that you can create an intentional morning routine that truly does help you to align and energize your body and mind so that you're showing up from that confident and centered and charismatic place. So you can take the inspired action, so you can keep moving forward, you can stay focused, you can get more done, you can be more productive, feel like you're in flow. And so you're just ticking things off the to-do list all day
Yeah.
long, and then you're actually thriving, and so your business is thriving and you still have time and energy left over to enjoy your life. So that is the gift that I'd
Mhm.
love to share with your community. And so it's a 3-step checklist that will help you to customize your morning routine for more magic, more energy, more flow.
Woohoo! Well, that's so cool. So we'll have that for everyone listening. We'll have it in the description and also in the comments, whether you're listening for the live right now. The replay will be in Boss Babe or the podcast or the YouTube channel, which will be really amazing. Yeah, so excited. So Megan, thank you so, so much for being here today. Are there any last words or anything else you'd like to convey to Boss Babes and anyone listening on each platform?
Absolutely. So I would just one more time reiterate that you are essential in your business and in your life and every relationship that you have. And so the more you can really just take a step back and appreciate that and make it a priority to feel your best, then it will totally change how you show up and how you feel and what you're attracting and what you're open to and all of that. And so really just making it an intentional decision to give yourself some well-deserved time and love and attention on a regular basis, ideally every day, but on a regular basis does really pay off. And not only does it pay off, it feels good to feel good. So I would definitely advocate for that for sure.
Cool. Thank you so much for all the just wisdom that you shared today and the intelligence behind it too, from everything you've studied, and then bringing it forward for other women to learn in such a straightforward way. I'm just blown away by your knowledge and your ability to communicate it and wisdom. So just thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much as well. It's been so fun to chat with you and to connect with the Boss Babe community. And I can't wait to take a little morning yoga break with you all. So definitely check that out and reach out if you have any questions or anything. I'm happy to answer any questions about anything that I shared today or about yoga or exercise or all that goodness.
Okay, thank you so, so much. And for everyone listening, please reach out to Megan, especially to increase, just like you said, your confidence, your energy levels, happiness, and ability to stand up fully present in your business. Megan, thank you again. And everyone, we'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye. Take care.
Thanks for being with us, and check out our Boss Babe Female podcast on YouTube.